Hi, this is Janice from Space to Relax, and the video you're about to watch is a replay of a live class I taught on Zoom. These classes are free of charge for everyone to join, so please invite your family and friends. They're suitable for beginners and those of you with more Qigong experience. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then please don't forget to hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I hope you enjoy the class.
Welcome so much to the class today, and I would like to say welcome to any new people who are joining for the first time. These Qigong exercises are really simple to follow along with, so just follow along with my instructions, and you can be sitting or standing for the first part of this exercise today. For the second part, it would be really nice if you had a chair next to you. So if you do want to sit down, then you can, because the second part is going to be a meditation. And as we are in autumn time, in the Northern Hemisphere at least, this is the time, in terms of Chinese medicine, of the lung system. So this is when the season is changing from summer into autumn, and it can be quite challenging. It can require us to adapt our immune systems to all the coughs and colds and flus that might be going around. And so this is a great time to work with the lung system to give it a little bit more energy, but also to clear out any what's called waste or sick qi from that lung system to leave it kind of clean and open and functioning at its optimum. So in today's class, what we're going to do firstly is use what's called the discharging method to get rid of any waste qi in the lung system. And then secondly, we're going to work with a meditation which is all around and concerning the emotion of the emotions of sadness and grief, which are the associated emotions of lung in Chinese medicine. So in Chinese medicine and Qigong, each organ system has an associated emotion. So if we can then healthily process any grief which may be stagnating the flow of energy, of qi, of blood and fluid through our lungs, if we can clear that, then we leave our lungs nice and clear and again functioning at their optimum at this time of year in the autumn. Now, if you're watching this and you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you can still practice this exercise because, of course, we need to use our lungs to breathe all the time. It doesn't matter what season of the year it is. It's only that in the autumn time, it's actually much more beneficial and maybe a little bit more useful to you to practice this exercise, but absolutely you can do it any time of year. So the first thing we're going to do now is check our position. So standing with our feet shoulder width or hip width distance apart, knees slightly bent, feeling nice and stable on the ground. If you're sitting in the same kind of position, so have your feet parallel, just knees at a right angle if you're sitting on a chair, so that you're nice and comfortable. Then check that your pelvis is slightly tilted forward, so you're actually lifting up in the lower abdomen and moving down through the back of the body, thinking of moving the tailbone downwards, the sit bones downwards, and that creates nice openness in the lower back. Shaking the arms out and maybe just lifting up the shoulders and giving them a couple of shrugs just to check that we're not holding any tension in the shoulder area. And now bringing the chin back towards the throat, and then at the same time lifting up in the back of the neck. So thinking of the chin coming in and then drawing everything up the back, just to create a little bit of openness in the vertebrae of the neck area. Bringing a smile to the corners of your mouth, close your mouth, resting the tongue against the roof of your mouth and the tip of the tongue against the back of the upper teeth. And then just close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the nose. As you breathe in, feeling your belly expand. And as you breathe out, feeling your belly shrinking. So breathing in, as though you're inflating an imaginary balloon. Breathing out, feeling and seeing in your mind's eye that balloon getting smaller. So this is just bringing yourself into your practice with some abdominal breathing. And this breath is lovely and calming for the mind, just helping to settle and prepare you for your practice. Just a few more breaths in your own time. Each time you exhale, releasing any tension that you feel in any part of your body. And then gently opening the eyes. The first exercise we're going to do today is, as I said, it's a discharging exercise. This is one of the 6 healing sounds, which is a very famous Qigong set of exercises, each of those 6 sounds being associated with a different organ system. And it's one of the exercises I teach in my Space to Relax 50-week program. And today we're going to look at the healing sound specifically associated with the lung. And that sound, actually, there are 2 of them that you can choose from. So we'll do both and we'll see which one you like best. So one of those sounds is S for snake, like an elongated S. And the second sound that you can use to do with the lung and to discharge or get rid of any waste chi from the lung is xia. Xia. So we're going to try both, okay? So if you're sitting, just stay as you are. And if you're standing, you're just in this position with the feet shoulder width distance apart. So there's no movement really in the legs as such. The only difference between sitting and standing is if you're standing, when you do part of the movement, you're just going to drop the weight in the knees very slightly by maybe an inch and then come up. So you're going to drop and come up. If you're sitting, stay as you are, okay? So the movement of the arms for this, same for sitting and for standing. So you're lifting the arms, keep the shoulders nice and relaxed, and then turning to one side, dropping the arms down to the side, looking down to that side as well. And if you're standing, you're just dropping the weight slightly in the knees. And then floating the arms back up, knees straighten very slightly, but don't lock out if you're standing. And then sinking in the knees as you come to the other side, looking down over that shoulder. So this is the movement up and down. And if you look at my arms, you see it's as though they're floating on air. So no rigidity, the wrists are soft, the fingers are soft, the shoulders stay down. And the movement in the knees, if you're standing, is coming up to the center and sinking down to the side. And as you're looking across and over your shoulder, make sure that your mouth isn't pointing directly towards or onto your shoulder, because we're going to bring in the breath in a moment. You don't want to be breathing any sick or waste chi that you may be harboring in your lungs onto your shoulder. You want to be breathing it away from you or behind you. So here we have the movement. So keep going with that. And then as we come back to the center, breathe in. And as you come down to the side, breathe out. And you can breathe out through the mouth for this, because we're going to be bringing in the sound in a moment. Breathing into the center and out to the side. Into the center and out to the side. So you'll be performing this movement with the rhythm of your own breath, whatever is comfortable for you. So that could be faster or slower than you see me doing this right now. So we'll bring in the first of the sounds now. So breathing in, and then as you breathe out to the side, saying the S sound. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Now we'll change the sound to the second one. Breathing in and xia. Breathing in and xia. Breathing in and xia. In and xia. In and xia. One more time. In And xia. Arms coming up, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, allow the arms just to come back down by your sides if you're standing, or onto your thighs if you're sitting. So that's the general idea. But of course, those of you who practiced Qigong with me before know that Qigong is much more than just simple breath and movement. We need to bring the mind into this. We need to think about what we're doing and understand why we're doing these movements and doing this breathing. So remember, what our aim is for this is to discharge or get rid of any waste qi that may be lingering in the lungs and causing stagnation of flow through the area. So just as you're standing or sitting there right now, close your eyes for a moment and think about your lungs. Think about the position of your lungs, both at the front of your body, so you can visualize quite easily your lungs resting underneath your rib cage, but also remember that the lungs extend up to just below the collarbone, so the tops of the lungs are often an area that we forget to kind of think about. And then also very commonly, we forget that our lungs are in the back of our body as well. We have the rib cage at the back. So think of the lungs in the back of the body and also kind of in between and under the shoulder blades. So visualizing the lungs in your mind's eye. And now think of any waste qi, sick qi, uncomfortable feelings, anything at all to do with the lungs. Now, you may not think that that's an easy thing to do. All you need to do, though, is just have that in your mind's eye. Just that intention of thinking, I'm going to rid waste qi from my lungs is enough for your qi internally to take action in response to your thought. And then we enable that to happen even more easily by bringing in the breath and the movement with the sound. So thinking of waste qi in the lungs and then gently opening the eyes so you can see me. So with that intention now, as you were doing before, breathing in and breathing out with the sound. Ridding waste qi as you make the sound. Breathing in, ridding waste qi, going out behind your body, over your shoulder. And now with the xia sound. Yeah. 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 And then lifting the arms and breathing out and bringing the hands back to rest on the lower abdomen, one hand on top of the other. Closing the eyes, keeping the smile on the corners of your mouth. And observing how you feel. And at the same time, taking a few abdominal breaths. And gently opening the eyes. So that's a really simple, quick, discharging waste qi method that helps to get rid of any sick or waste qi or uncomfortable feelings in the lung system. And when we get rid of the waste, that leaves lovely open space for the qi, the blood, the fluid to flow through the lung system, and also for you to be able to breathe in a little bit more kind of healing qi as well. So it just leaves the lungs really clear. It's a bit of a declutter for the lung system at this time of year in the autumn. And as I said, it works any time, but in the autumn, it's more specifically beneficial to you because autumn is the season associated with lung in terms of Chinese medicine. So the second exercise we're going to move on to now is a lovely meditation. So you can actually sit down for this one. And please just bear with me there. I'm just going to grab a chair as well, so you can sit down yourself. For this meditation, which is working with healthily processing and releasing grief from our lung system, particularly, what I want you to do is make sure that you're nice and comfortable. So sitting, or you can actually be lying down for this, but just check that whichever position you're in, your spine is kind of nicely aligned in a nice straight line. So you don't want to be kind of lounging back in the chair or being in any kind of bad posture. So you want to be on a, with a well-supported chair with a straight back, or supporting yourself by sitting on a stool. If you're lying down, make sure you're lying on a fairly firm surface in terms of a bed or a couch, or even on the floor on a yoga mat. Just check that you're nice and comfortable first of all. Make sure if you're sitting that your feet are hip-width distance apart and your knees at that same distance as well, and then you're nice and relaxed. Your chair is not too high or too low that that would cause anything for your knees to be uncomfortable. And resting with the thighs, just with the hands on the thighs, palms facing down or up. So just yourself now, just kind of practice and just see which of those positions feels the most comfortable. And rather than have the elbows kind of jammed up against the body, just have a little bit of a space, have that idea of a space underneath your armpits, just a small area there, elbows slightly away from the body. And that allows the upper arms and the shoulders to be nice and relaxed. Just picking up your shoulders and then dropping them down. And picking them up and dropping them down. One more time, just to release any tension in the neck and the shoulder area. Tuck the chin back towards the throat and feel a lovely elongation in the back of the neck as you do that. Now closing your eyes, close your mouth, allow the tongue to rest against the roof of your mouth, the tip of the tongue resting against the back of the upper teeth. Bring a smile to the corners of your mouth. This lovely meditation is to help you release any grief or sadness in the healthiest way possible for you. And grief and sadness are the emotions which are associated with the lung system in terms of Chinese medicine and Qigong. And we're working with the lung system at the moment because in the Northern Hemisphere, it's autumn right now. And autumn is the time to help the lungs out, give them a bit of a helping hand so that they're as strong as possible in terms of resisting any external coughs and colds and infections. So if we can release any stagnant associated emotions of sadness and grief from the lung, then it can function much more efficiently in its physical realm. That realm being of defending us against external diseases, of breathing, and of healthily moving fluid around the whole body. So settling into this meditation now by breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. As you breathe in, feeling the belly expand. And as you breathe out, feeling the belly getting smaller. And what's really lovely and calming for the breath is to count and breathe in for the count of 4. And then breathe out for the count of 6. So allowing the exhalation to be a little bit longer than the inhalation. This is very calming for the nervous system. So use your own counting speed. Not so that you're putting your breath under any pressure, but just really being aware that your exhalation is a little bit longer than your inhalation. So keeping nice, smooth and relaxed breathing going throughout this meditation, I want you to think of yourself right now as a scientist. You're going to become the observer of your own emotions. So it's almost as though you're looking from the outside in. So you're not part of the emotions, you're merely observing what's going on. So I want you to think now of someone that you may be grieving for. Now that someone can be a person, a family member or a friend, or that someone can be a pet, could be your animal. I think at one time or another, we've all lost a person in our lives or a beloved pet. So think of that person or pet and observing from the outside. Observe the emotions of grief and sadness that you either felt at the time or you're still feeling right now. Just observing what that emotion feels like. So not going into it, not feeling it so much from the inside that you're getting too involved with it, but observing where you maybe see it in your mind's eye. Is it located anywhere in your body? Does it have any temperature sensation, hot or cold? Does it have a colour? Does it create any sensations anywhere else in your body? Does it cause any other feelings aside from the grief or sadness? Any regrets, any feelings of guilt, any feelings of fear or anxiety or anger? Remember, you're the observer, so you're merely looking at this from the outside. And as the observer, what I'd like you to observe is the intensity of that feeling right now on a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 being the smallest amount of sadness and grief, and 10 being the most overwhelming, huge amount of sadness and grief. So give your feeling a score from 1 to 10. And then on that scale, wherever you have scored that feeling, what I'd like you to do as you continue with this lovely calm breathing is allowing that calmness and relaxation to help you to very gently move that feeling 1 point lower down. So if you scored your feeling a 7, then very slowly and gently allow the breath to slide it down to a 6, just decreasing the intensity by 1 point. And what can also help you to do this is, as you exhale, think of releasing that little bit more grief and sadness into the atmosphere. It floats away from you, leaving less of it inside. So still observing, not getting too involved in it. Just seeing that sliding scale, nudging down 1 point, getting a little bit closer to the number 1 each time you exhale. Now, it would be impossible to expect that level of feeling will come down by 3 or 4 points in one session. So just look at moving it down the 1 point, not forcing, but just letting the breath release a little bit of grief or sadness that you might be holding on to. And keep going with that for a few more breaths, staying on the outside as the observer. No forcing, no frustration or anger with this. If nothing's happening at all, that's fine. Just observe and make a mental note of that. You always have the next time to do this. So there is no rush. Grief and sadness are very individual feelings for every single person. And now letting go of that breathing exercise and the emotion, coming back to the rise and fall of your belly for a moment. And thinking of your lungs now, being a little bit clearer, a little bit freer. They're not harboring quite so much sadness and grief. Even if you've only got rid of a tiny, tiny amount, just feel that little bit more free and more open in your lungs. And now think of the top of the head, the very top, the crown of your head. And in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine that's a lovely sparkling water fountain. So bringing a smile to the corners of your mouth. And each time you breathe out, send that fountain up into the air. So you're thinking of a fountain of sparkling water, or of, just lovely, lovely chi just spilling over out the top of your head. But you're going to send that fountain now up, 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 way up into the sky. So each time you breathe out, send the fountain higher up. With each exhalation, your energy reaches higher and higher up into the sky. And when you feel as though your energy is way above the clouds, Just hold it there for a moment. And think of that person or pet that you've been grieving for. And have a look around in your mind's eye. See if they're up there. See if you can see anything. You may not see anything. You might hear something. You might feel something in terms of a wind or a temperature difference. Stay up there and just see if any communication comes through from the loved one. Keeping it very light, very energized, very happy. You're up there exploring to see if they'd like to communicate with you. Just having a look, still being the scientist, the observer, so no desperation. Don't be at all concerned if it doesn't happen. Just having a look to see if they're around. And if they are, observe any communication that they may make with you. But if they're not, that's fine too, because you've sent your lovely chi up there into their realm, and they'll pick that up at some stage. Now beginning to bring yourself back down from high up, descending your chi, the water fountain, down through the crown of your head, back down through the center of your head, center of the throat, down through the center of the chest, all the way into the lower abdomen, to Dantian, to your center, your energy center. Keeping the smile on the corners of your mouth. And just knowing that through this meditation, you've released even the smallest amount of sadness and grief from your body, from the lung system in particular, leaving the lungs clean, clear, and open to function at their optimum. And you've also perhaps made contact and received some communication from the loved one that you lost, and maybe know now that they're safe and looked after wherever they are. So ending now by gently placing one palm over the lower belly, the other palm directly on top of that, and just sealing in that lovely chi, that lovely energy you've been moving around the place by circling the belly. Firstly, giving it a rub in one direction, and then changing the direction. Keeping the eyes closed, bringing the palms together and rubbing the hands together until your palms get really, really hot. And then placing both palms over your eyes, feeling the heat from your palms, nourishing the eyes, traveling back through the eyes to nourish the mind. And as you feel the heat dissipate, just giving your face a little massage to bring yourself back into the room, slowly opening the eyes as you do so. And then allowing the hands to come back down, to rest on your thighs. So I hope you enjoyed that lovely meditation to mobilize and help you to release a little bit of grief or sadness from the lung system, even if it was only the tiniest amount. And hopefully that will then allow the lungs to be a little bit more open and free-flowing in terms of the way the chi or the energy, the blood and the fluid moves through that system, with the added benefit then of real physical change in terms of your ease of breathing, your resistance and resilience to external colds and diseases. And also the lungs help to mobilize and move fluid throughout the whole body. So really helping the lungs with all of those lovely functions. I do hope you enjoyed the class today, everyone. And as always, if you have any questions, please send me an email. My email is janice@spacetorelax.com. You can also contact me through the Facebook group, which is Space to Relax Free Qigong Group. So if you're not a member, then you can join. And what I'd really love you to do, if you have been enjoying all of these live classes, is to maybe donate as a thank you. And 50% of your donation goes towards the ICU staff, the intensive care unit staff in my local hospital. And I'm going to give them something for Christmas time. So if you want to donate now or even closer to Christmas, then that would be great. So they get 50% of your donation. The other 50% goes towards the upkeep of my website. So please, if you've enjoyed these classes, then donate, even if it's only a very small amount. That would be brilliant. And as always, if you've enjoyed these videos and you're watching them on YouTube, then give them a like or maybe leave a comment on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.
If you enjoyed this Qigong lesson, then there are 4 things you can do right now. The first thing is to head over to my website, which is spacetorelax.com, and there you'll see that you can join up for a free 3-part video series. The second thing you can do is click the link next to this video to sign up for the live Qigong classes. The third thing you can do is go over to Facebook if you're on Facebook and look for Space to Relax Free Qigong Group. That's my free group where you can post any questions, and please do join the group. And the fourth thing is, if you're watching this video on YouTube, then please hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson and look forward to seeing you in the next video.